I've recently been spending my time between court appearances stalking the r/Exanima subreddit. You see, I've been a lover of this game for quite a few lonely nights, and it saddens me to think that a new fan might grasp for help in the YouTube search bar, only to discover General Sam's dookie-stained fingerprints all over the algorithm.
I thought we agreed to ban this man.
Were it not for his praise, though, it's possible the game would not be half as popular as it is now, and that's not much. The community is small, the Rule 34 stockpile even smaller. But I'm here to bring my army of viewers into the Enlightenment, whether they like it or not. If you want to learn the Exanima art of war, you've come to the right training program. Unlike the armed forces, in this boot camp, you'll need to be literate to proceed.
What does a fascist mean?
Exanima, for the uncultured, is a genre-defining dungeon crawler, /combat sim, /physics fighter in pre-alpha, which is also, I guess, a Souls-like because it's set in castle times, and it's too hard for the average club-handed toddler to beat blindfolded. Zoom transition. When you boot up this finely tuned masterpiece, do not open the manual. At this point, it will only confuse your primate mind. The only 3 words I want you to see are arena, practice, and novice. I know, they're a little long for a guy like you, but for now, it doesn't matter what they mean, but what they represent. Welcome to your new home for the next 3 hours. You should make your character to your liking, pick a 2-handed weapon, and the moment you load in, hit the escape button. Why should you pause now? Because I don't know what ambidextrous ape pianist programmed this game, but the default controls will actively hinder your enjoyment. If you have a patrician's gaming mouse with a side button, or a plebeian's blunt click tit with a pressable mouse wheel, this is the button that you should use for orbit camera or cursor look. These controls do different things, but basically act the same in combat. The point here is to constantly rotate the camera towards your opponent, so that you never get confused by the angle of attack and wind up flailing like the mindless Neanderthal you are. Whenever you see my camera move to face my victim, that's me, actively pressing a button to find a better angle of attack. Now the movement. When your cursor is red, W, A, S, and D move you relative to the direction of your cursor. You know what? What am I doing? Here's some Subway Surfers gameplay to keep you engaged. To be super clear, your character faces wherever the cursor is pointing. W moves you forward, S back, all the rest. Do not hit the right mouse button to move in combat. Do not hit Tab, which will turn your mouse into grabbing mode and turn your survival instinct off. If you even have those thoughts, that means you read the manual and you aren't listening to me. That's okay. Some students are troubled by an active mind. Do a quick 8-ball of laundry powder and wipe that slate clean for me, big man. Next, you swing your weapon by holding down the left mouse button, but you only do big boy damage by swinging your cursor in the direction of your attack while holding the button down. The timing can be obtuse because you are a rhythmless honky, and sometimes you'll have to really move your cursor out of the way to start the swing on the side you want. But if you want to make it easier for yourself, quit the game. Double-clicking does an overhead chop, holding Alt and clicking does a forward thrust, and X crouches, an excellent way to get past poor shield defense. Blocking on your part happens automatically when you aren't attacking, or it doesn't, and you die. Now that we're through the basics, here's how to beat that pesky first training minion. Since you listened to me and chose the 2-handed weapon, you have a reach over most 1-handed weapons. If you miss an attack, you can safely move away from your opponent and avoid their reprisal. Just wait for them to swing wide, and right as they do, begin your attack at their exposed side. That's the side on which they began their swing. If you land one hit, the hard part is over. The moment you do, stop holding the mouse down, reset your position, and go for another strike. As you get more comfortable, try circling around your prey. Try holding the mouse button down after a first attack so that you can do a follow-up from the other side. Try intentionally missing the first attack and then positioning for the follow-up to hit as you bait this young rabbit into your diabolical trap. Now that's gonna get the old meat rocket pounding. Like a real duel, in real life, it all comes down to that perfect hit. They can land it on you, squandering your dreams and potential in one fell swoop, and you can land it on them, stealing all the years of unlived life away like a bandit in the night. With patience, you will learn to find that one singular opportunity and seize it. Well done, you've beaten the novice practice mode. You can move on to expert if you think you're worthy, or just jump into the arena proper. Arena mode is simple in concept and complex in execution. The first character you create isn't actually one of your fighters. Instead, it's the corrupt manager whose only role is to collect 100% of the winnings from your brain-damaged prize fighters. You have to recruit another, separate character to be your fighter in the arena. The hire button is only for those rich enough to afford a mercenary to die for your profit. Your manager can enter combat, but if they die, their invaluable contributions to the team die with them, and you have to start a new company. Standard style matches allow you to select the skill level you are fighting in, and are always available. Under the special tab is where the true moneymakers lie, but they are restricted to a certain fighter level. Pugilism matches test the technical mastery you have over the combat system, and they only do yellow damage, which resets between each match. Red damage takes many days to heal, but can only be inflicted by mortal wounds. Tournaments are fucking bullshit, and seasons can eat my ass. How many seasons have I won? Why don't you suck me and find out? I'm sorry, I don't know what came over me. Let's just move on to the campaign. Hey buddy, are you still trying to figure out why that first door won't open? Try pulling. Alright, you've earned the right to read the manual. Take your time, sound it out. Much of it won't make sense until you've applied the concepts and developed a working frontal lobe. Here's one big adjustment to combat in the campaign. In practice, you automatically have access to things like improved automatic parries, immediate follow-up swings, etc. In the campaign, you are a one-trick pony until you take on the talent that gives you those abilities. Luckily for you, in the campaign, you can also run away. You can place objects in front of your enemies if you're fast enough, and you can use the terrain to make up for your lack of coordination. All my tips about combat still apply because I am a professional gamer, but since you've stuck around so dutifully, I'll leave you with some additional insights just so you don't get frustrated at this opaque gem and take it out on your government-assigned caregiver. A compass can be placed in your inventory to show all 4 directions. There are maps in various places in the dungeon, and only with the compass do they have any chance of being useful. Well, only with the compass and with the developers actually updating them to reflect the actual map layouts. If you can't find the maps, don't discount the usefulness of leaving a trail of breadcrumbs or victims in your wake. I often consider Columbus in my many stumblings through these labyrinthian halls, and in a flash I recognize how the rage of accidentally finding the wrong place could drive any weak-willed Italian into a genocidal fervor. Organize your keys into a lockbox or pouch. Same with healing potions, maps, or lore documents, and uranium ingots. When you stop being able to put things in your inventory, well, that means it's full, champ! Stop being greedy! Every key you find will be used somewhere on the floor you found it, so best to have them handily separated in case you backtrack. Only ever fight one thing at a time, especially when you have so little armor that every hit takes permanent health away from you. The game is going to tell you that you don't need to fight everyone. Using mind sense, you can tell which NPCs are peaceful and mean you no harm. Don't let this hold you back though. Everything in this game can die at least one more time than it already has. A pacifist zombie is just a zombie that's letting you set up the first hit. Thrusts are so good that it feels unfair. Pause. If you have any trouble at all with the fleshier enemies, get a spear, the longer the better, and drive that point into the nearest eyeball. Always carry a blunt weapon and a sharp weapon until you spec into strikes. One is for those things that have no armor and plenty of flesh, and the others for those that have plenty of armor and no flesh at all. Those levels on which you have to carry the torch, your best hope is to find a one-handed weapon to keep you safe while you hold your flame aloft. Keep in mind that you can also switch weapon sets with R, meaning you can always lure an enemy into a well-lit area and then whip out the two-handed iron bar on they ass. You have access to some magical powers in addition to your combat abilities. Albeit ungentlemanly, these powers are extremely useful for combat. One of my favorites is of course the ability to make followers of the local tweakers. Be warned though, followers that come from different floors may be compelled to fight each other, and if you happen to have made a friend on the first floor, this goes double for him. Protect him. Love him. Dress him sexy. These quick tips will get you over the most insurmountable learning curves of the first few levels. While you scour these winding chambers, you will develop your drip, gain comfort with your weapon types of choice, make a friend, and abuse that friend. After that, well, then it's the horrors. Sorry to say that I can't help you there, only God can, and he left when we invented the particle accelerator. Maybe if this video goes anywhere, I'll have to make a follow-up walking through some of the levels in detail, and, once I start doing what the audience wants, well, that's the end of the joy I once felt from playing these games. Back to cranking the content wheel between sessions of recuperative gooning. I'm gonna riff a few sign-offs on the way out here, so leave a comment on the one you like the most. This has been the B-Dog on the ones and twos, telling you that it gets better. This is the B-Man, telling you once again, they're going through me to get to you. This is the B-Man, pulling you close, lovingly embracing you by both shoulders. Broad shoulders. You've been working out. A lot of lat pull-downs. I respect that. A lot of people give up pretty soon. Hugs going on a little bit too long. This has been the B-Man, hugging you a little bit longer. From the B-Daddy, broadcasting out the compound, bidding you a restful Sabbath.